Well, hello there. And take a wife from there, from the daughters of Lavan, your mother's brother.
Oh, but it's not disgusting to marry cousins? No, you are disgusting for playing Fortnite in your parents' basement. Marrying your cousins is how you build family. It's how you keep it in the family. Oh, but somebody said, I don't care what somebody said. If Yahuwah didn't say it's wrong, it ain't wrong. And as Shaliach likes to say, put that in your religious pipe and smoke it. Shalom, y'all.
Shalom, welcome. It's a new day here at a Servants Podcast, episode 8. What a
8.
blessing!
Can you believe that? 8
8,
episodes already?
infinity. We're happy to be here. Today's a special episode. Let me tell you why. Because as you can see, our background is this nice little campfire. We got the bears, the moon's out. They got the little books and they're reading. And it's actually nighttime right now for us. And this is our first time recording a Servants Past podcast after dark.
Evening edition.
Evening edition. But it doesn't matter because you might be watching this at 9 in the morning. It's bright and early. But for us, it is late. We got a little bit of a crazy schedule, so we're making sure we're pumping these out for you guys, whoever's watching. We appreciate you. We're going to get right into it. Today, we are on the 7th Parsha. We'll be reading Genesis chapters 25 through 28.
Correct.
And then, depending on time, we may, in this episode, get to Mark chapters 1 through 5. Last episode, we finished the first gospel of Matthew. Or Matiyahu, depending on what place in the world you are in. Mateo. There's numerous ways of saying it.
Right.
We appreciate you guys being here, man. We love you guys, and we're excited, and this is a blessing for us to be able to share together and dig into the word and get something out of it. And like I always say, I hope you guys get something out of it too. Get some nuggets as we get nuggets, and we share those nuggets. A lot of nuggets going around. Sharing is caring. So, Yoshi, you got anything you want to share before we start?
Well, you said a lot of nuggets. I was about to say something, but I chose to be quiet. I plead the fifth.
I don't know if you can do that. You're not an American citizen, bro. You might have to spill the beans.
I ain't, but I speak English better than some American citizens.
That's true.
So.
That's true. I can't argue with that.
Praise be to Yahuwah for that. I ain't
Praise
cocky.
be to Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah. All right. Let's get a little zoom in for the blind people.
Or the visually impaired. We want to try to get us canceled before we get
My bad,
famous.
bro. I gotta be PC. I gotta keep it PC. My bad. That's on.
PG-13.
That's on me, bro. My bad.
Let's do it.
That's on me. Okay, it's
That's
on
me.
Good. I get to take a back seat.
Yeah. Bereshit Genesis 25. Just don't doze off on me.
Dude, I'm wide awake, bro.
Good. Then again, Avraham took an Isha, a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran and Yokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishvak and Shua. And Yokshan begot Sheva and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim and Letushim and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah and Epher, and Hanok and Avidah and Eldah. And these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had to Yitzchak, to the son of the promise. But to the sons of the concubines, whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Yitzchak his son, eastward, to the east country. And these are all the days of the years of Abraham's Chayam, life, that he lived, 175 years. Then Abraham gave up the Ruach, another way of saying he died, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. So, question to you, Nechemyah.
Mm-hmm.
We know that part of the 10 Commandments is to honor your father and your mother so that your days are extended in the earth. So my question to you is, we know, based on Genesis 12, that Abraham's daddy was not a nice guy in the eyes of Yahuwah. He was a pagan, because if he was not, Yahuwah would have not said to Abraham, yo, get out of there because it's about to go down. So which father and which mother did Avraham honor? Because he lived almost to 200.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is after Yahuwah is saying that men should live only 120 years because my spirit would not strive with men anymore in Genesis 6. So,
Mm-hmm.
what father and mother did Abraham honor in order to receive this healthy, long life?
Yeah. It's a good question. And I think I've heard it answered a few different ways. So it depends perhaps on the perspective people have. One can be literally the Abba, Yahuwah. And I believe people say that the Ruach, the set apart spirit, which technically wasn't give poured out at this time, the comforter wasn't really poured out until Acts chapter 2. But we know that, I don't know if we can say we know, but there is the principle that the Ruach is the feminine aspect or the feminine spirit of Yahuwah, that which comforts. I believe Elder Chris once said in a Zoom meeting, and this is to me a little bit more, I don't know how I feel about it, but I think to a certain degree it makes sense. You have the primordial aspect of like Adam and Chava, right? Because technically that is his mother and father, and a lot of people, Shalia concluded, don't like Adam,
Me
right?
neither.
Neither do you. But just like we don't know if they maintained their salvation or if they maintained in the walk, we don't know if they did. So they may have. And we know that Yahuwah did provide them a covering before he expelled them from the garden. Um, and eventually Seth was born to them. Um, and so on and so forth. So there's a few different ways to look at that. I would lean to say more the I would probably lean more towards Yahuwah and perhaps an essence of the Ruach that maybe was understood at this time, maybe not the full understanding of what the Ruach was or what it would do for mankind
Well,
as a
maybe it
whole.
was because like people were living to 100 and 100 plus.
Right, right,
We are lucky, and we don't believe in luck, but we are lucky if we reach 90. So maybe they
right,
understood more the Ruach than we do.
right, 100%. And they had more of a you could probably argue that they had a more direct connection to Yahuwah in the sense of Abraham is literally being visited by the
Right,
Malak Yahuwah, the angel of Yahuwah, which we know to be Yahusha before
right.
his incarnation. So they had, and just like eventually once we get into uh, Exodus and then into the Torah and further into the Torah, we know that Yahuwah through Yahusha came literally down to earth and spoke with them panayim panim face to face. They ate with them. We're talking about this past Shavuot on Sunday. Um, so may have had a lot more revelation than we do today, because we know Abraham understood that Yahusha would come at some point. He
Right.
understood the promise that was given to him, not just the physical promise of multiplicity and all those covenants that Yahuwah gave to him that we've read so far, but also this idea that they understood that there would be this messianic figure who is Yahusha who would come at some point later down the line. Um, but if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Yahuwah, the Abba himself, and the Ruach, something along those lines. What do
Me
you think?
too. For the sheer factor that it's very nowadays you can you have video chat, you can FaceTime your parents, but he basically went to a whole different country. So how can you
Right,
honor your physical father being like a country's distance away from him?
right,
So I would link to that to your first answer, that he honored Yahuwah so much to be called Yahuwah's friend and
right.
to have like died at a very good age and like happily, as far as we can tell. So I would link to the first rather than the latter.
Yeah. So there's that aspect of it, but then there's also our physical mother and father.
Right.
Let's say we are in a situation where our physical mother and father aren't believers. They're not keeping the faith. Maybe they're in the church, or maybe they have no faith at all, or maybe they're
That's
pagans, maybe they're
that's my
heathens.
situation.
Right? That's most of our situations. Very rare do you see an entire family saved. Um, so when you do have it, if you're in that situation, count it as a blessing because it's very, very rare
Right.
do you see a mother, a daughter, a father, and a son, and brother and sister, everybody in there together. Usually it's,
Yep.
only a few.
Very few and far between.
Yeah. So how would
So
you say that how would you, because I think it's kind of obvious, like if your parents are in the faith and they guard Torah and the Torah guards
that's
them.
that's because of the we need to verify the definitions of it.
Right.
Every definition that we have needs to come from the scripture. So what is honor? Is honor love? No, it is not, because love and honor are two different things. If they were the same, they would have only one name to
Right.
describe it. So technically, you need to honor them. What is to honor? To respect and to obey, the same type of honor that we give to Yahuwah. The fear, in the sense of awe, like they are higher than me in the chain of command, and also the obedience. That's the highest honor you can give not only your parents but anybody. And we
Right.
have that verified in 1 Samuel 15:22 and 23. What
Right.
Yahweh expects from us is not sacrifice. He expects from us obedience, because
Right.
through obedience we can show the sacrifices, the fruit of our lips, the fruit of our deeds, the fruit of our walk, the way we dress, with whom we interact, with whom we marry. In other words, obedience is the most important factor in our walk as Israelites, because
Hmm.
everything follows obedience. And you can only obey something you love. It's like in the army. Nobody likes to be cussed out, but out of love they obey, and through obedience everything can be done. So I believe that, with all my heart, that honoring my father and my mother, for instance, my mom is almost a full-fledged pagan, but I honor her. I also love her because she's been an incredible mother throughout my life. She still is. But, and she needs help, I help her. I need help, she helps me. So I love her. But how can I honor her? Obeying, listening, being there when she needs me, trying to take care as much as I can, because I am, a country's distance away from her. But honoring has to do with a full obedience. And this is me now. The next words are mine, not from the scriptures. They are mine through my understanding and through my life. Um, the unconditional love, the way that is long suffering, patient, that can take everything and still forgives. To me, that's part of honoring my mom, because my father is no more. He's with Yahusha, I believe. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, makes sense. It's good. And I think the only caveat would be, obviously you shouldn't obey your parents if they're telling you to do something that contradicts Torah.
Right.
That should be obvious. But I agree. I think, look, even if your parents aren't saved, uh, everybody, I mean, some people have terrible parents, and that's unfortunate. But if you have good parents who are doing the best they can with what they understand, and they've taken care of you, they've raised you, they provided for you, they loved you, and you do the same in return. That doesn't mean you have to compromise your faith. And if you get to a point where you're having to compromise your faith to keep these people in your life, then that's a different conversation. But like in the case of my parents don't get in the way of me doing what I need to do. They don't hinder me. They don't, um, they don't disrespect my faith. They don't disrespect my walk. They may not fully understand it, and you're willing there will come a time where they do.
Right.
Um, but unless that's happening, like, yeah, I'm always gonna love my mother. I'm always gonna be there for her in any way that I can, provided it doesn't get in the way of my own discipleship. Because I think following in your own discipleship is the highest form of honoring your parents. Because even if they don't understand what you're doing, by nature of you obeying Yahuwah and his commandments, and setting out to do what he has given you to do, that is honoring your parents. Because you're, even if the work and the time and the years that they invested into you, if they thought, oh, one day my son's going to be a great lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, he's going to build the next space station, whatever the heck it is, and maybe that's what they thought would be, what my son would end up doing. There is no better. The reality is that if you have a child and they serve Yahuwah, there is no better
There's no
blessing,
better.
whether they know it or not. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Whether they
it's the
see it
best.
that way or not.
It's the best situation possible.
Right.
Okay, so 8. Then
8.
Abraham gave up the Ruach, the spirit, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Yitzchak and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zoar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field that Abraham purchased from the sons of Chet. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his Isha, his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Avraham that Elohayim blessed his son Yitzchak, and Yitzchak dwelt by the well Lachai Roeh. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bore to Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nevayot, and Kedar, and Advil, and Misvan, and Mishma, and Duma, and Masa, Hadar, and Tema, Yetur, Nafish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their settlements, 12 princes according to their tribes. And these are the years of the Chayam, the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the Ruach and died, and was gathered to his people. And they dwelt from Havilah to Shur, that is before Egypt. As you go towards Ashur, Assyria, facing their brothers did they settle. And these are the generations of Yitzchak, Avraham's son. Avraham begot Yitzchak. And Yitzchak, that's Isaac, was 40 years old when he took Rivka, Rebekah, to be his wife, the daughter of Betuel, the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Lavam, the Aramean. And Yitzchak sought Yahuwah for his wife because she was barren. And Yahuwah was found by him, and Rivka his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it is so, why am I like this? And she went to inquire of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 kinds of people shall be separated from your bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, see, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over, like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esav. He was Irish.
I
And
was literally
after
about to
that,
say that.
and after that, his name was Esav O'Neill. So, and after that came out his brother, and his hand took hold on Esav's heel, and his name was called Ya'akov. And Yitzchak was 60 years old when she bore them.
Bro, it must be, first of all, as men, we'll never have to push a baby out, which is a blessing. And we don't
Let
got to deal
alone
with that.
two.
Let alone two. But just imagine his birth, bro. One pushing one baby out is already rough. But then the second baby, he's grabbing his foot on the way out, bro. And you like,
And I can
eh,
imagine, like, they didn't have ultrasound machines back then.
yeah, bro, you're not in a
So,
modern
like,
hospital. You're probably in a tent. It's
no, but
hot.
my point is, like, okay, the first one came out, and then the second, what the heck is that? A
Yeah,
second?
yeah.
Is
And
that legal?
the first one that came out was all red and hairy, and you're like, bro, what
Yep.
did I just give birth to?
Little
And like, you gotta
bears,
think, bro. Like, this is back in the day. This is the back of the back of the back. You know what I mean?
right?
Like, there's no AC. You know, you ain't getting a glass of cold water, no epidural, no nothing, bro.
Nada.
You just in a tent, sweating, bro, pushing these babies out. That's a different kind of woman, man.
Screaming for your life,
Yo, you could die. Like, you,
literally.
there's no clear, none of that, bro. You
Yep.
just, if you don't make it, you ain't making it.
By the way, piece of advice for y'all, for everybody. The cleared thing, the defibrillator, that doesn't bring you back to life. That just resets your heart rate so it beats normally. What brings you back to life is the CPR thing, where technically you are
Mm.
already clinically dead. So it doesn't matter if you're breaking your ribs because the person you're trying to revive is already gone. So you just keep the blood pumping, and then when the heart comes back, if necessary, you use a defibrillator to bring the heart to a healthy pulse. So just so you don't,
Mm.
you know,
Look at that, bro. Hey, that
yeah,
YouTube medical school really, Dr. Mike, dude. Shout out Dr.
yeah.
Mike.
Shout out Dr. Mike. Chest compressions,
Yeah,
chest compressions, chest
that's
compressions.
right. All right. No
So,
worries.
26. And after that came out his brother, and his hand took hold on Esav's heel. And his name was called Yaakov. And Yitzchak was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew, and Esav was a skilled hunter, a man of the field. And Yaakov worked on a cubicle, on a computer, was a plain man, dwelling in tents, a tech guy. And Yitzchak loved Esav because he did eat of his venison. By the way, being a Brazilian, I had a very difficult time understanding what the heck was venison.
It's
Why
deer.
don't you just put deer meat?
I don't know,
Why
bro.
you need to put a whole different word to
You
describe
gotta
that?
you gotta ask the rednecks, bro. They're the ones
It's
that do all
crazy.
that hunting, dog.
I discovered, yeah, that's the difference between hunting and hunt. I learned that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. We don't
So
hunt. We go hunting. We
I
go
just
hunting.
discovered that listening to a Joe Rogan episode that venison, they explained venison was deer meat, and I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
And one
Anyway,
day, yeah, willing, I'd like to go hunting. That sounds pretty cool. Like,
I
I
don't,
mean,
I won't.
think about it. Like, it's probably the best meat you can get. I mean, it's
No,
natural.
it can't. It
Is
ain't because the Torah says you need to slaughter properly.
right.
If you kill it, if you like, I
Uh
mean,
huh.
you can't bleed the animal out, but it's gonna take weeks. But if you
Right.
bleed it correctly, it's like instantly, same day, and the animal's not stressed. When you shoot it, the meat tenses up. I
Yeah.
learned that with Kalev because he slaughters meat in his farm.
But I guess
So
in the context of like, it's probably better than factory farmed.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
must be, yeah.
relatively speaking, maybe it's not as like, but good luck catching a deer, throwing a net on it and dragging it back and then, then
Don't
cutting its throat.
people don't people like breed deer?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. They got like deer farms and stuff. You can probably.
I'm curious about elk. People say that elk meat is delicious.
Dude, elks are massive, bro. You don't want to play with them suckers, dog. Those things are the size of like a bus, New York City bus. Those things will ruin your
I
day,
was
bro.
thinking about like if I ever live in a cold place, having an elk as a mount, so I can
Pretty
mount
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 27. And the boys grew, and Esav was a skilled hunter, a man of the field, and Yaakov was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Yitzhak loved Esav because he ate of his venison, but Rivkah loved Yaakov. And Yaakov cooked pottage, and Esav came from the field, and he was faint. And Esav said to Yaakov, please, man, feed me with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, that means red, because of the red lentil soup. And Yaakov said, okay, I'll do it, but sell me this yom your firstborn rights. And Esav said, see, I'm about to die now. I'm about to flatline. So what do I do with this, firstborn stuff? And Yaakov said, swear to me today, get the lawyer, get the contract out. And he swore to him, and he sold his firstborn rights to Yaakov. The firstborn, yeah, firstborn rights. Then Yaakov gave Esav bread and a pottage of lentils, and he ate and drank, and rose up and went his way. So Esav despised his firstborn rights.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of grimy. You know what I mean? Like, you got your brother coming in. First of all, if this guy is such a good hunter, bro, how's he starving? Shouldn't he just go kill a deer and then slaughter and then eat it? Like that doesn't make sense. But I don't know. To me, it's such a weird interaction. Like your brother comes in, he's like, "Yo, I'm dying. I'm starving, bro." He's like, "All right, I'll give you some of this lentils, but you gotta give me like the equivalent of probably like millions of dollars in
Right.
order for me to feed you." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I'll die. If I
Right.
die, there's no point."
I
I don't know.
mean,
It's
yeah.
just a weird interaction, bro. Like, dude, just feed your brother, man. Why are you being weird about it?
But we are talking about red hat Irish guy in the Middle East, so this whole thing is weird if you
Yeah,
think
it is
about
kind of yeah. If you look at it from that point of view, it
it. It's
is
like
just
that boxer, the Canelo dude.
yeah,
He's Irish.
yeah,
I don't care what you say. He's Irish.
yeah, probably. Or like a black guy in Japan,
Yeah.
like they
The
all
whole
mob them. They all think they're all like Michael Jordan, take pictures of him and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it is
right.
kind of weird.
Somebody said that somebody said that when a Brazilian goes to Norway, he gets like 7 women if he wants at the same time, and they
Oh
don't
really?
mind because we are so different. Like darker color, different beard color, the complexion is different, the swing,
Yeah,
like samba, and the way that we dance and have rhythm. They said that in Norway is just like gold in the form of a human being.
yeah. Well, everybody over there, they all look this. They're all like blonde,
Yeah,
blue-eyed, pale,
huge.
tall.
Yeah. So 26, that's you, bro.
26. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the Yamim of Avraham and
Eight.
Yitzhak. And Yitzhak went to Avimelech, king of the Plishtim of Gerar, and Yahuwah appeared to him and said, "Go now down to Mitzrayim, dwell in the land that I tell you about. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and to your seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform an oath, which I swore to Avraham your Abba. And I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give to your seed all these countries. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because Avraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my mitzvot, my hukim, my commandments, my statutes, and my Torah." So, I mean, you see something very related to this, something along these lines, maybe worded a little differently. Why does why does Avraham receive all these blessings? Why does he get shown so much favor? Like we were kind of talking about earlier,
Right.
Avraham was known to Yahuwah as a friend. Was it just because he had a nice beard? Was it just because he knew how to make a nice lamb stew?
Matzo ball soup.
No, it's because Avraham obeyed. He obeyed his voice. And through that obedience, he was rewarded.
Right.
So, listen, Yahuwah does play favorites. He favors more. He favors some more than he favors others. So then the next question is, well, how do I get more favor? How do I get Yahuwah to favor me more? Be more obedient.
Yep.
Very simple.
How do you get favor in your with your father and your mother? Just obey them more.
Yeah. So, don't be mad about it. Because it's not like Yahuwah favors people and doesn't give you the opportunity to be favored. You just don't want to be obedient,
Right.
or you just don't want to be obedient. One of the two. You know what I
Let me
mean?
just balance that because Yahuwah does play favorites. But he does normally does play favorites based on something. For instance, Solomon. He said to Solomon, to Shlomo, "You're not going to see the corruption that you provoked because of your daddy. Your father was a nice guy. I loved him." So technically, Shlomo was one of these favorites that kind of received the favoritism of his dad. And as Yahweh said to Moshe, we are going to see that in the future. I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. In other words, he does have favorites based on his criteria in a way that
Right.
we will never be able to attain. So just to balance that you said that yes, we can become more favored in the
Right.
eyes of
Right.
Yahuwah by obeying, but he does have people that he favors because he wants. And if you're mad about it, complain to the manager. I ain't him.
I wouldn't do that, but you could, I guess, in
Me
theory.
neither, but that's on you.
That's on you. It's not on me. That's on you.
That's on you.
6. And Yitzhak dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked him about his Isha, his wife. And he said, "She is my sister." For he feared to say, "She is my wife." Lest, said he, the men of the place should kill him for Rivka, because she was beautiful to look at. Nowadays, we'd call that a dime. I
Right.
believe that's what the kids say. Um, 8. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Avimelech, king of the Plishtim, looked out a window and saw Yitzhak playing with Rivka, his wife. And Avimelech called Yitzhak and said, "See, of a certainty she is your Isha. So why did you say she is my sister?" And Yitzhak said, "Bruh, I just picture like Avimelech, like he's just like in his house or something. He looks out the window and he just sees like Yitzhak and Rivka like playing footsies or something, or like like flirting. He's like, bro, that ain't your sister, man. Who you trying to fool, bro?" 9. And Abimelech called Yitzhak and said, "See, of a certainty she is your Isha, she is your wife. So why did you say she is my sister?" And Yitzhak said to him, "Because I said, otherwise I will die because of her." And Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of our people might have unknowingly lain with your Isha, and you would have brought guilt upon us."
That's the whole point. That's precisely the whole point. The only part that Avimelech is forgetting about his own sentence, defending himself, is that they would have killed him and then lain with his wife. So
Mm,
that's the whole point. But he's trying to, play the victim.
right. But then if and I guess just to kind of like uh counteract a little bit, but if Abimelech wanted to just kill Yitzhak because his wife was a dime. Like now that he knows, wouldn't he just kill him now? Like why would he? Like if Yitzhak would have said from the beginning, "Oh, this is my wife," and he wouldn't have cared, he wanted to kill him. Like what is it difference does it make now that he does know?
Remember Avimelech of Avraham's day and what
Right,
happened to them?
right,
Yahuwah basically shut closed all the wombs of all the females of the house
hmm
of Avimelech and went to him in a dream, kind of threatening him with death.
right,
So probably, as far as we are seeing here, this guy already knew the consequences. So technically, they were already fears of Yahuwah, or at least they
hmm
knew about his presence.
right,
That makes sense because he said, "What have you done to us? One of our people might have unknowingly lain with your wife, and and you would have brought guilt upon us." Okay, but what guilt are you talking about? Maybe they knew of the records of what happened to the previous Avimelech, king of that people, because of what happened to Abraham, and Yahuwah intervened. So probably we have a record that these people in Gerar were starting their conversion, or at least they were acknowledging Yahuwah and what he did to his people.
right. Yeah, I can see that makes sense.
That's a possibility.
Yeah. Um, 11. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, "He that touches this man or his Isha, his wife, shall surely be put to death." Then Yitzhak sowed in that land and received in that same year 100-fold return. And Yahuwah blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward and grew until he became very great. And for he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great supply of servants. And the Plishtim envied him. Said, "Yo, who's this guy over here with the Ferraris? He's got all these. He's got a maid. He's got a personal chef. We over here in a tent, bro."
Right. Dude got a personal trainer. LeBron is his friend.
Yeah, crazy. 15. For all the wells that his Abba's servant, his father's servants, had dug in the days of Avraham his Abba, the Plishtim had stopped them and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Yitzhak, "Go from us, for you are mightier, much mightier than us." And Yitzhak departed there and camped his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Yitzhak dug again the wells of water, which they had dug in the days of Avraham his Abba, for the Plishtim had stopped them after the death of Avraham, and he called their names by the names that his Abba had called them. And Yitzhak's servants dug in the valley and found there a well of running mayim, of running water, mayam. And the herdsmen of Gerar did strive with Yitzhak's herdsmen, saying, "This water is ours." And he called the name of that well Esek, because they strove with him. And they dug another well and strove over that one also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well. And for that one they strove not. And he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, "For now Yahuwah has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." And he went up from there to Beersheba. And Yahuwah appeared to him the same Lila, the same night, and said, "I am Yahuwah, the Elohim of Avraham your Abba. Fear not, for I am Yahuwah with you, and will bless you and multiply your Sarah, your seed, for my servant Avraham's sake." Kind of more or less. I mean, there's definitely more here because he was a child of promise and so on and so forth. But that idea that because he favored Avraham and he loved Avraham, he's also favoring Yitzhak.
It's
So it's a mix of both, but it kind of does still also
Yep.
feed into your point that you're making.
And he has to because he said that I love to the thousandth generation those that love me.
Hmm.
So technically, Yahuwah has to favor the up to the thousandth generation of those who love Him. So this is why the house of David still favored to this day. Like they are still in their land. This is how part of our people are still in our land. This is how. This is why like we have the child of promise still having his seed all over the place, being scattered throughout. That's favor to the hundreds of thousands generations. So Yahuwah
Right.
cannot go against His own word.
Very true. 25. And he built an altar there and called upon the name of Yahuwah and pitched his tent there. And Yitzhak's servants dug a well. Bro, these guys are well guys, bro. These guys love their wells.
Yep.
26. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pichol, the chief captain of his army. And Yitzhak said to them, "Why do you come to me, seeing you hate me and have sent
Wait, wait,
me
wait.
away from you?"
26. he's basically mentioning Pichol, the chief captain of his army. Wasn't this dude also the chief captain of the Avimelech of Abraham's days army's captain? Also?
I believe so.
Probably we're talking about the same dude yet. And that makes
Hmm.
more sense to him saying, why did you do that to me?
Yeah.
Yahuwah would mess us up if anybody had taken your wife. That makes more sense because the names are actually the same.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Or this Pico guy was just freaking. He's like that 90-year-old lady that's still smoking and somehow doesn't have lung cancer, you know? Like they've been smoking like 2 packs a day for 40
Yeah.
years and
Or,
they're still kicking.
or that
Yeah.
could be like a title like Pharaoh.
Yeah, yeah. Could be too. Because you see, like you notice, like it says Avimelech the king, or it'll say like Avimelech the Melech of Gerar.
Right.
So yeah, it could be something like that too.
27.
And Yitzhak said to them, "Why do you come to me, seeing you hate me and have sent me away from you?" And they said, "We saw certainly that Yahuwah was with you." And we said, "Let there be now an oath between us, even between us and you, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, as we have not touched you, and as we have done to you nothing but tov, but good, and have sent you away in shalom. You are now blessed of Yahuwah." And he made for them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up early in the morning and swore one to another. And Yitzhak sent them away, and they departed from him in shalom and peace. And it came to pass the same day that Yitzhak's servants came and told him concerning the well that they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." And he called it Shiva. Therefore the name of that city is Beersheba to this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took his wife Yehudite, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon, not Elon Musk, the Hittite.
Almost.
Yeah, no Cybertrucks, which caused grief of mind to Yitzhak and to Rivka.
Those Cybertrucks are so ridiculous. They look like an extended mouse. So
I've
weird,
seen
weird,
some cool ones. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them, like when they get them wrapped and stuff, I think they look kind of cool.
weird. They look like a car from a Tomb Raider video game of the 2000s.
Yo, like the way the graphics look. Yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you mean. Yeah,
completely
that's funny.
polygonized.
Yeah, yeah, that poly graphics or whatever.
Terrible. 27. And it came to pass that when Yitzchak was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esav, his eldest son, and said to him, My son. And he said to him, See, Hineni, see, I am here. And he said, See now, I'm old. I'm an old geezer now. I know not the day of my death. Now please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and find me some deer meat. I refuse to use that term anymore. And make me tasty meat such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat it, that my being may bless you before I die. And this is a very important point that is completely opposite of our society nowadays. Because nowadays a person dies, and then you have 3 years of infighting because of the inheritance.
Hmm.
Back then, according to what we see of our patriarchs, hence I can technically say that Yahweh designed it to be that way. The father divides everything before he dies. This way
Right.
we prevent infighting and division and striving and conflict. But nowadays, don't nobody know what is bequeathed to nobody. And
Bequeath.
yeah, I'm pulling out of my medieval bag because I have it.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't nobody know anything. Now you need to go to court, and all of a sudden, a family affair became a public affair, and
Right.
it was not necessary. So Yahweh puts almost not almost everything, 120% of everything He puts here to protect us. So by being Israel, we are more planned, we are more prepared, and we are more wise. Or as I
Yeah.
tell my students, wiser.
Man.
Verse 5. And Rivka heard when Yitzchak spoke to Esav his son, and Esav went to the field to hunt for venison, for deer meat, and to bring it. And Rivka spoke to Yaakov her son, saying, See, I heard your father speak to Esav your brother, saying, Bring me deer meat and make me tasty meat, that I may eat and bless you before Yahuwah, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command you. Go now to the flock and get me from there 2 kids of the goats, 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make from them tasty meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah his mom, See, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. My father will fill me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. Like, you're crazy, mom? He's gonna see I'm not him.
And he's
I
like,
ain't
yeah,
him.
I'm smooth as a baby's bottom, bro. I ain't got no hair on my chest.
I shave, I'm like all taken care of, and he's like a brute beast, an Irish Scotch drinking beast. 13, and his mom said to him, Upon me be your curse. In other words, shut up, boy. If anything goes wrong, I got you. Only obey my voice and go get them for me. And he went and took and brought them to his mother. And his mother made tasty meat such as his father loved. And Rivkah took nice clothing from her eldest son Esav, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Yaakov her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth parts of his neck. And she gave the tasty meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaakov. And he came to his Abba, his father, and said, My father. And he said, Hineni, who are you, my son? And Yaakov said to his father, I am Esav, your firstborn. I have done accordingly as you told me. Please arise, sit up, and eat of my dear meat, that your being may bless me. And technically, if Yitzhak wanted to be blessed with the firstborn rights, he already had them because Esau had already forfeited them. So technically, this whole play here was kind of not necessary if you want to be technical.
Yeah,
But just to be sure,
yeah, we call that doing the most.
yeah,
Ain't no need for all that.
going the extra mile unnecessarily.
Yeah, just doing the most, bro.
Yeah, 20. And Yitzhak said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahuwah your Elohayim brought it to me. And Yitzhak said to Yaakov, Please come near, so that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esav or not. And Yaakov went near to Yitzhak his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Yaakov's voice. Kind of too high pitched.
Kind of a
But
little soy boyish,
yeah, kind of like pretty boy voice. But the hands are the hands of Esav. For some
bro.
reason, I imagine like The Rock and Kevin Hart trying to pull this off. This is
Bro,
the
but
first
this
thing that comes to my mind.
you just gotta think, dude. How hairy was Esav that this man literally took a goat, slaughtered it, put on the fur, the pelt of a goat, and then
Plus
Isaac
the
was
some
like,
coat.
yeah, and Isaac was like, yeah, that's my son. He feels like a goat, you know. That's so weird, dog.
I imagine this dude like a bear, like a gigantic man, incredibly hairy, like those Turkish dudes that we see, like
And
unibrow,
combing their chest
gigantic
hair and stuff,
ear,
man.
like
Yeah,
the closest thing to Sasquatch.
literally.
Yeah,
This might be Bigfoot, bro. This is like what people
probably
see. It's probably just Esau walking around in the woods.
right. Or an orangutan because he was redheaded.
Yeah, it
That's
could
a
be
possibility too.
something like
So
that.
yeah, 23. And he discerned him not because his hands were hairy, and his brother Esau, as his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. And he said, Are you really my son, Esau? I don't know. I don't know. Your voice is kind of not there. And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's dear meat, that my being may bless you. And he brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yitzchak said to him, Come near now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field that Yahuwah has blessed. Therefore, Elohim give you from the dew of the heavens and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as Yitzchak had made an end of making the blessing upon Yaakov, that Yaakov had just gone out from the presence of Yitzchak his father, and see, Esav his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made tasty meat, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, "Let my father arise, let the real Slim Shady arise, and eat of his son's deer meat, that your being may bless me." And Yitzchak his father said to him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm your son." "What you mean? I'm your son, Esau." And Yitzchak trembled very exceedingly and said, Who, where is he that has taken the deer meat and brought it to me, and I have eaten of all before you came and have blessed him? Yes, he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me also, father." And he said, "Your brother came with subtlety and has taken away your blessing. But didn't you just sell your firstborn rights? What you complaining about? Are you crazy or something?" 36, and he said, "Is not he rightly named Yaakov? For he has supplanted me those 2 times. He took away my firstborn rights, and see, now he has taken my blessing." And Esau said, "Have you not reserved the blessing for me?" And Isaac answered and said to Esau, "See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers have I given to him for servants.
Yeah,
And with grain and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now for you, my son?"
bro. Just imagine this, bro. You just first of all, this guy's hairy as a goat. He probably smells terrible. He's
Yeah.
out there hunting for some deer, sweating. He's like, bro, I'm about to get this juicy deer, bro. Get to my paw. He's gonna be happy, dude. He's gonna give me the nicest blessing, bro. And as soon as you come in, you find out, and it's kind of funny because Itzhak's kind of rubbing it in. He's like, oh, the blessing I gave your brother by accident who just stole it from you, who I gave him like all the money, all the wealth, I gave him, everything,
Power.
all the things that you want. By the way, I also made him your master, just so you know.
Man, that must have been a weird night
Yeah, that man
in
was
that
mad, bro.
household. And I imagine like Esau destroying the tent, punching holes everywhere and throwing arrows to the sky and,
Yeah,
playing the fool,
dude was fuming.
doing the most. So 38. And Esau said to his father, "Have you not just one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept like a crybaby that he was, like crybaby face. And Yitzchak, 39, his father answered and said to him, "See, your dwelling shall be away from the richness of the earth, and away from the dew."
Yo, this guy is just taking L's, bro. This guy is cooked, dude. You
It's
just
like,
can't win, bro. It's so sad. I honestly feel bad for it, bro. It's just tough. You know what I
no,
mean?
this part is like, Yitzchak is like one gut punch after the other, like one after the next, and
You just
punch.
can't win,
Oh,
dude.
oh, by the way, you're gonna be living away from the richness of the earth, and you're gonna be living in a incredibly dry desert, away from the dew of heaven. Just so you know, just so you prepare yourself. This is your blessing, the blessing of preparation. You're gonna know what's gonna happen to you.
That's tough, dude.
He's the enemy of winning. That's who he is. 40. And by your sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. And Esau hated Yaakov because
Dude, that man was like, I hate him. Oh man, that's tough, bro. Couldn't be me.
Yeah,
Could not be me, bro.
I mean, if AR-15s were in existence back then, probably we wouldn't be
Uh,
here.
dude, yeah, I gotta be. Yeah.
That you shall break his yoke from off your neck. 41. And Esau hated Yaakov because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, "The days of mourning for my Abba are at hand. Then I will kill my brother Yaakov." And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rivkah. And she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, "See, your brother concerning you does comfort himself by purposing to kill you. If I was Jacob right now, I would slap her in the face. It's your fault."
Bro, if I was Jacob, I would have been out of there, dog. I don't need my mom to tell me nothing, bro. I'm taking off. I'm be like, yo, deuces, I'm out.
I'm skedaddling.
Yeah,
You taught me that. It was funny.
bro, skedaddle up on out of there.
43. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee to Lavan, my brother, to Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's anger turns away. More like 40 something years rather than a few days. 45. Until your brother's anger turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and get you from there. Why should I be deprived of both of you in one day? And Rivka said to Yitzchak, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Chet. If Yaakov takes an Isha, a wife from the daughters of Chet, such as these who are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life be to me? So that's for you, men. The woman, for your women too. The spouses that you acquire are going to either bring grief to your family or they're going to bring light to them. So, as we have been yapping for the past 7 episodes, choose right, choose wisely, and first of all, be in Yahuwah's plan. Then he will bring part of his
Mhm.
plan. Genesis 1:26, Genesis chapter 2 is not good for men to be alone. Boom, you're in. Don't go to bars. Don't think that just because you found somebody in a library reading about the story of World of Warcraft and the battles of Kadam or the book of Ilidan, that doesn't mean anything. You need to be in Yahuwah's plan. It's not just because she looks cute that
Man,
is going to be it. Beauty is not everything because after some 40 years, you're not going to have that to hold you guys together. 28, that's you.
I was gonna say something I forgot, bro. It threw me off. What were we talking about? Uh, the only thing I was gonna say is, see, that's the problem with a lot of people is that you're choosing when you really should be letting Yahuwah choose for you,
Right.
because Yahuwah knows His wisdom is above man's wisdom on any day of the week, and Yahuwah's not gonna put you with someone who's butt ugly, bro, that you're not attracted to, that you can't even, look at her without like throwing up a little bit in your mouth. He's not gonna do you like that, man.
Yeah, it makes no
And
sense.
He's gonna bring to you the perfect wife, not because she is perfect in every essence, but because she's perfect for you. You know what I mean? You gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. So
Yep.
that's what I just wanted to add that little token. Let Yahuwah
And
pick for you.
and be not fret not, my boys. Be not afraid because if you have the desire, Yahuwah knows because he put that desire into you. The thing is, you need to control it. And you need to control it by getting close to people where you can be accountable, and
Hmm.
also having friends. For instance, if Nehemiah messes up, I can shout at his face because he gave me that authority, and the same goes both ways. If I made a mistake, he has the authority to shout at my face. That's because we are kissing up. No, it's just because accountability. When you have people looking at you all the time, when you have people that expect few things from you in terms of character, you tend to shape up. So accountability is incredibly important. And as Nehemiah was saying, stop trying to choose for yourself. You've been doing that for 43 years now. Yeah, you've had like 13 girlfriends. How did that turn for you? So now do
Hmm.
Yahuwah's way. Stop doing your own way.
Hmm. Precisely. 28. And Yitzhak called Yaakov and blessed him and charged him and said to him, You shall not take an Isha, a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife from there, from the daughters of Lavan, your mother's brother.
Oh, but it's not disgusting to marry cousins? No, you are disgusting for praying Fortnite in your parents' basement. Marrying your cousins is how you build family. It's how you keep it in the family. Oh, but somebody said, I don't care what somebody said. If Yahuwah didn't say it's wrong, it ain't wrong. And as Shaliach likes to say, put that in your religious pipe and smoke it.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I gotta keep it a buck. Me personally, I can't tell you I'd marry my cousin, but
I
also,
would.
but hey,
I don't
but
care.
I can't tell you he's breaking Torah. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with Yoshi. Like, look, I mean, it might make you feel uncomfortable, It might be weird through your Greco-Roman mind because you've been raised in the West and you've been taught to look at life through the Western lens in a Judeo-Christian society. But we believe in the scriptures that we don't, and if we what is unclean because Yahuwah says it's unclean, and what is clean because Yahuwah says it is clean.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if Yahuwah says like, "Hey, this is permitted," listen. I mean, let's keep it a buck here. For most of human history, people married their cousins. It was a regular thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you that means like, yo, you saw your cousin, just go marry her. I'm not telling you that. You should marry who Yahuwah tells you to marry.
But
And I
if
think
that happens
too,
to your cousin, don't be a fool.
you know what I mean? Hey, and I also think that we live in a time where things are a little different, where that's not something that's as maybe necessary. I mean, you got to think back too at this time, people. I mean, you didn't have much to choose from. You know what I mean? Like, it's either marrying some like weird pagan over here. Not that the world's not full of pagans, but you can find someone that's not your cousin is also in the congregation. You know what I mean? So it's again, I'm not saying it's against Torah. I'm not saying that it's unclean. I'm just saying, like, let's be honest. I haven't met anybody yet that's married their cousin. It's probably
But the proof is in the pudding.
proof is in the pudding.
This that we are reading about happened some 5,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago,
Yep.
and our society that you change spouses and boyfriends and girlfriends as you change socks is not going too well. So, just for you to consider, we're not condoning like, oh, my cousin gonna marry just because she's my cousin. No, marry who Yahweh puts in front of you, after being prepared in the faith, being in the
Hmm.
fold, that's all embedded in the conversation. But if Yahweh say, yo, that little cousin of yours, she's pretty, go there, my boy. And then you say, nah, she's my cousin. Don't be a fool, man. Don't waste opportunities.
Hey, so wild. This is what happens when you join the a servant's podcast after dark, bro. It gets a little wild out here. Um,
Evening edition.
evening edition. What verse was on? 3.
3.
And El Shaddai bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, and you shall become a Kehillah, a congregation of nations. And El Shaddai give you the bracha, the blessing of Avraham to you and to your seed with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which Elohim gave to Avraham. And Isaac sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padan Aram to Lavan, the son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rivkah, Yaakov's and Esav's mother. When Esav saw that Yitzhak had blessed Yaakov and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from there, and that he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, "You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." And that Yaakov obeyed his father and his mother, and had gone to Padan Aram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan did not please Yitzhak his Abba, then went Esau to Ishmael, and took besides the wives that he already had, Mahalata, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, and the sister of Nevayoth, to be an Isha, a wife. And Yaakov went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. And he came upon a certain place and stayed there all night because the Shemesh, the sun, was set. And he took the stones of that place and used them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. This is still Esau, right? No, this is Yaakov.
Bro, Yaakov.
Bro slept on rocks as pillows. That's tough, man.
And
That ain't
he was the soft one of the brothers.
that ain't no Tempur-Pedic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he dreamed and see a ladder set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to the heavens, and see the heavenly angels of Elohim ascending and descending on it. And see Yahuwah stood above it and said, I am Yahuwah, Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham your Abba, and the Elohim of Yitzhak, the land where you lie. To you will I give it, and to your Sarah, and your Zerah shall be your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall break out abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in you and in your seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And see, I, Yahuwah, am with you, and will keep you in all the places where you are going, and will bring you again into this land. For I will not leave you until I have done that which I have spoken to you. And Yaakov awoke out of his sleep, and he said, Surely Yahuwah is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! There is no other place but Bai Elohim, and this is Sha'ar Ha-Shamayim.
The
And
gates of heaven.
the gates of heaven. And Yaakov rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillow and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz first. And Yaakov vowed a vow, saying, if the word of Elohim will be with me and will keep me in the way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the word of Yahuwah be my Elohim. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be Elohim's house. And of all that you shall give me, I will surely give the tithe to you.
Give the what?
The tithe.
Oh, the tithe is no longer, is no more. Your face is no more. The tithe is a forever principle. You don't want to accept it. I don't care what you want. It is a forever principle. Deal with it.
Deal with it. That's right. And this is tithe, not a tie. Okay.
Tithe.
Tithe. Tithe.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we'll stop here
Yep. We need to.
because once in a while, we a little short something, man. Just give you something quick, something for the soul,
Good.
something for the spirit. You
Just a
know what I
little
mean?
snack.
Just a little snackety snack. You know what I mean? We hope you guys enjoyed. All right. We hope you guys got something out of it. Maybe even you just got a laugh.
I
Something.
did.
We did. We had fun. So we hope you enjoyed, and we appreciate you guys for watching and listening along. Make sure you guys share. Share with a friend, share with an uncle, share it with your cousin. We've
Share
come
with,
full circle.
yeah, the cousin before marrying her. Share with her. Share with him. Listen to these dudes.
Yeah, yeah. Listen to these guys. But yeah, man, share it, subscribe, like the video. We appreciate all that, man. If you can get this in front of people, and if you got something out of it, they'll get something out of it.
Yep.
And that's the best thing. That's one of the best ways we can help is just sharing, right? Sharing
Um,
the word, sharing the good news, sharing the
don't be
gospel.
don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed or like, oh, what if? Don't listen to the what ifs. Just share it because it is written. The word of Yahuwah cannot be brought back void. So anything that people can glean from this is a seed that we can plant. So you are our arms. You are basically the spears that we are throwing. And whatever you reach, the word of Yahuwah is being preached, Yahusha is being mentioned, and we hope that through you and basically as it is written, one sows the seed, the other waters it, and then Yahuwah gives the increase. So by sharing our work here, our little passion project, you guys are being supporters and workers of Yahuwah, because of that. So we appreciate your help. We appreciate your sharing, and let's build His kingdom together.
Amen. All right, guys. We love you guys. We'll see you on the
Shalom,
next
y'all.
episode. Hasta luego.
Hasta la vista, baby.